Welcome to Elements of Mechanical Engineering, Module 4. So, we have already discussed with the belt drives. So, we have learned some of the basic concept of belt drives and related to flat belt drives. So, in that we studied about two types of belt drive again. So, based on construction. So, one such belt drive is open belt drive, another one is cross belt drive. So today we have to find out what is the length of belt in open belt drive as well as in cross belt drive. So we have one derivation for open belt drive as well as one derivation for cross belt drive. So we'll discuss first how to find out length of belt in open belt drive. Just all of you look at this construction. So there will be two pulleys. One is called driver, another one is called driven or follower. So here you can see one is bigger pulley, another one is smaller pulley, over which there will be a belt is placed. So you can see here. So this is belt, and as usual, the belt is always subjected to tension, and these belts are endless. This belt is endless. So we have to find out the total length starting from J, again J to E, E to F, F to K, K to H, H to G, and again uh, G to J. What is the length? So that you have to find out. So it means that you have to derive one expression for that. So that expression is usually in terms of the diameter of driver pulley as well as diameter of the driven pulley, along with distance between these two center of the driver as well as center of the driven. So that distance is called center distance. It is denoted by C or X. In some of the textbook they mention in terms of X. So C stands for center distance between two pulleys. So open belt drive means when the speed of rotation, if a driver rotates in clockwise direction, the driven also rotates in same direction, and then only we can use this type of belt drive. So before starting with derivation, so you have to follow certain construction. So you have to draw certain lines. So that also we'll see in subsequent slide. So now coming to the diameter, so D1, so representation of D1 stand for diameter of the driver pulley. So this is the diameter of driver pulley. Then the radius will be R1, so that is half of the diameter. Similarly, D2 is the diameter of driven pulley. The smaller pulley is nothing but driven pulley. So the diameter of this pulley is D2. So that R2 is the radius of driven pulley, and C is nothing but X, that is center distance between these two centers, that is center of driver pulley and center of driven pulley. The center of driver pulley is represented by O1, and center of driven pulley is represented as O2. Now one of the important construction, so you have to draw a line O to M that is perpendicular to line O1E. So O1 O to M, you can see here one dotted line, so that you have to draw, so such that that line should be parallel to O1E. So O1E is nothing but the radius of driver pulley, so that is small letter R1. So here mentioned is O1 is R1, that is D1 by 2. After drawing this one, so you will get one rectangular, that is O2 MEF. So you know that is the area of the rectangle. So you will get one rectangular such that the both sides are equal, that is O2F is equal to ME. So O2F is nothing but radius of the driven pulley, so that is equal to distance ME. So now we have to uh, follow one more triangle here, so that is O1 O2 M. O1 O2 M is a right angle triangle, such that we have to find sine alpha. You know, trigonometry function sine alpha is opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So here is alpha, small angle. So opposite to this alpha angle triangle, the opposite side is O1 M. So you can see here sine alpha is OM. O1 M is nothing but opposite side divided by hypotenuse. The hypotenuse will be O1 O2. So O1 O2 is nothing but C. C is nothing but center distance. It's also called X. Now O1M can be written as O1M can be written as O1E minus ME. O1E minus ME is nothing but O1M. So O1E is nothing but R1, so it can be written as D1 by 2. So ME, we already consider ME as equal to O2F. O2F is nothing but R2, so it is nothing but D2 by 2. So that sine alpha, now we have to substitute R1 and R2 value. So O1E is nothing but D1 by 2. ME is nothing but D2 by 2. ME is nothing but O2F. So O2F is nothing but D2 by 2 divided by O1 O2. So O1 O2 is nothing but C. So after simplifying, you will get sine alpha as D1 minus D2 divided by 2C. Now, so we have to find out length of the belt. So in the figure, the length of the belt is nothing but, so you have to consider arc length. It will start it from G, G, J, E. So this arc length, so belt is wrapped here. So that is from G, J, E. So that is arc length. This is not a straight length. Plus EF. So that will be the straight length EF. Plus again arc length from FKH plus HG. So that is again straight length. So if you add all four length, so 2 straight length and 2 arc length, it will give you what is the length of belt in case of open belt drive. Now circumference, you know, that is always pi d. So you know arc length can be calculated, that is S equal to r theta. So r is nothing but radius and theta is the whatever the angle. So same concept you have to use here. So arc GJE, so arc GJE means, so it may consist of full entire thing. So I will consider now half of this one, because it will be 180 plus 2 alpha. You can see from the diagram. So the O1E and O1G, so that is after 180 degree. So angle of from here to here, that angle is 180 degree. Next we have to add alpha plus alpha. So that's why I will write separately. I will make three parts. First one, pi d1 divided by 2. So pi into d is nothing but the entire circumference of the driver pulley, pi d1. So half of that one, so that will be pi d1 divided by 2 plus, now I have to consider only small portion of the portion arc length you have to find out. So that is S equal to r theta. So r is nothing but d1 by 2, theta is small, so that you have to add, because here it is 180 plus, so that's why alpha d1 plus again alpha d1, because here also you have to add, that is term, whatever term, O1G. So small alpha also there, this side also, bottom side, so that also you have to add. So that's why alpha d1 divided by 2. So now you can take common d1 divided by 2 outside. So you will get pi plus 2 alpha. So that is arc length GJE. Similarly, you have to find out one more arc length that is related to a driven pulley, that is FKH, arc length FKH. In similar concept you have to use. Here you can see here the whatever the arc length, it will be the whatever angle of contact, that will be lesser than 180 degree. That is 180 degree is nothing but pi. So you can see here it is more, pi plus 2 alpha, here pi minus 2 alpha, alpha here and alpha here, so that pi minus 2 alpha. So that's why you will get pi d2 divided by 2, that is perimeter of the or circumference of the half of the driven pulley, that is pi d2 divided by 2 minus, because here you have to minus because angle is lesser than 180 degree. So that's why minus alpha d2 divided by 2 minus alpha d2 divided by 2. So you will get here you have to take d2 outside. That's why d2 divided by 2 into pi minus 2 alpha. So that is the arc length FKH. Now from the same triangle, so cos alpha can be written as, so cos alpha is always adjacent side divided by hypotenuse. The adjacent side is MO2. So MO2 divided by O1 O2. So O1 O2 is nothing but hypotenuse. So MO2 is same as EF, because in a rectangular area, so both sides are equal. So that's why MO2 is nothing but EF. So that's why EF can be written as C into cos alpha. So EF is nothing but C cos alpha. So EF is nothing but HG, because same construction you can draw in bottom side also, so that also possible. So that's why EF equal to HG. Now all the dimensions you have to, all the length you have to add here. That is first length, arc length GJE, that is d1 divided by 2 pi plus 2 alpha plus EF. So EF is nothing but C cos alpha plus another arc length, that is d2 divided by pi minus 2 alpha plus C cos alpha. Now you can take some of the common things from these two, that is d1, you multiply this one, d1 divided by 2 into pi plus 2 alpha into d1 divided by 2 plus C cos alpha plus, again you multiply here, d2 divided by 2 into pi minus 2 alpha into d2 divided by 2 plus C cos alpha. So L can be written as pi into d1 plus d2 divided by 2, because 2 alpha will cancel, plus alpha into d1 minus, sorry, this will not cancel here. So d1, take this first term and this term common outside, so that pi by 2 is common, take outside. So you will get d1 plus d2 again from here. So 2 2 will cancel, similarly 2 2 will cancel, so you will get alpha into d1 minus d2, second term you will get. Next last term and this term you have to add, that is C plus cos alpha plus C plus cos alpha, you will get 2C cos alpha. Now you have to substitute value of alpha. So alpha can be written as sin alpha, you know, sin alpha equal to d1 minus d2 divided by 2c. You have to consider sin alpha as alpha. For small value of alpha, you have to consider uh, alpha as equal to sin alpha, that is d1 minus d2 divided by 2, and cos alpha equal to, according to the trigonometric function, so cos alpha is given by 1 minus 2 sin square alpha by 2. So sin square alpha is written as alpha square divided by 2, so that can be written as 1 minus d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 8c square. So you'll get if you substitute here alpha square, if you make, you'll get d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 8c square. Now you have to substitute cos alpha and alpha value in this expression. Substituting the value of alpha and cos alpha in equation number 1, you consider this as equation number 1. So first term is as usual pi into d1 plus d2 divided by 2 plus alpha. In case of alpha, you have to substitute d1 minus d2 divided by 2c. So again d1 minus d2, so you'll get d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 2c plus 2c into 2c into cos alpha. Cos alpha is nothing but 1 minus d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 8c square. So after simplifying, so you will get expression as 2c plus pi into d1 plus d2 divided by 2 plus d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 4c. So that is the expression for length of belt in open belt drive. So the whatever the expression you can say, that is L equal to 2c plus pi into d1 plus d2 divided by 2 plus d1 minus d2 whole square divided by 4c. This is one of the important expression to find out the length of belt in case of open belt drive, and same can be used for problems, because most of the problem is based on this expression. So you have to find out one of the unknowns, because the length of belt is dependent on diameter of driver pulley as well as diameter of the driven pulley along with center distance. Now coming to the length of belt in cross belt type, because we know already how to find out length of belt in case of open belt drive. Similar steps we have to follow. The construction is almost same with the small modification, because here belts are crossing each other, but you can see here the dotted line is the construction. You have to draw O2M, that is perpendicular to again O1E. With the help of this one, we have to continue with the derivation, because this is also one of the important derivation from the exam point of view. I hope this one you can do, because we already know the fundamentals of open belt drive. So I'll give you this as assignment, because you have notes, and if for any clarification, so you can ask. I think I'll give this as homework for you. That is you have to practice. So after your derivation, so you'll get expression here L equal to 2c plus pi into d1 plus d2 divided by 2 plus d1 plus d2 whole square divided by 4c. So small difference is there in sign. Just look at this, because both the expressions are very important to solve problems. So one for open belt and one for cross belt. Next topic, that is ratio of belt tension. You have one more derivation. You have to find out what is the expression for ratio of belt tension, that is T1 by T2. So you know already two important belt tensions, that is slack side tension and tight side tension. So slack side tension, it is denoted as T2, and tight side tension, it is denoted as T1. Always tight side tension will be more than slack side tension. So you have to consider one pulley here, that is driven pulley. It is subjected to two types of tension, that is one is T1, another one is T2. So this is driven pulley. So we need to find out first what are the force acting over this belt at different places. That is the main thing here. So we need to find out all the forces here. So that is mainly at P and Q. So before that, you have to consider a driven pulley rotating in clockwise direction as shown in figure. So I'll consider one driven pulley. So it should rotate in clockwise direction because driver also rotate in clockwise direction. So I'll consider one small portion of the belt, that is PQ, because belt is wrapped over the driven pulley. So that is from A to B. So at an angle theta. So theta is the small angle, so whatever the angle subtended. So from A to B. Now I'll consider one small portion of the belt for derivation purpose. Later I will integrate over the entire tension. So I'll consider small portion, that is PQ. So whatever the angle that is subtended, that is a very small angle, that is d theta. So d theta is the small angle. So again you know the P is always, A is always subjected to tight side tension. So this one, sorry, A is always subjected to slack side tension. That's why the P is subjected to some tension. So that is noted as T. Similarly, the bottom side is always tight side tension, that is at B. B is subjected to tension T1. It's nothing but tight side tension. So that Q also subjected to more tension. So that is T plus small change in tension, that also you have to add, that is T plus del T or dt. So that is the tight side, and this one is the slack side. Now what are the forces acting over here? So that we have to see. So that we will see here. So T1 is nothing but tension in the belt on tight side. T2 is the tension in the belt on the slack side. Theta is the angle of contact in radian. So that is angle subtended by the arc AB, along which the belt touches the pulley at the center. So we have already considered a small portion of the belt PQ subtending at an angle del theta at the center of pulley as shown in figure. So the belt PQ is in equilibrium under the following forces. So belt is under equilibrium condition. So it's subjected to four important forces. The first one, that is tension T in the belt at P. So that is at the slack side. Similarly, tension T plus del T in the belt at Q. Then normal reaction. So there will be a normal reaction. So that is perpendicular to the frictional force. The frictional force in the belt and pulley surface, that is given by capital letter F. So it is always mu into Rn. So mu is nothing but coefficient of friction between the belt and pulley. So you can see here there will be a normal reaction at this point at the center, that is Rn. So always frictional force is perpendicular to the Rn. So frictional force is always mu into Rn. Now you have to resolve all the forces for equilibrium condition. So you have to resolve the four forces horizontally as well as vertically. First we have to resolve all the forces horizontally. So how to resolve forces, that is very important here. So all of you look at this diagram. So this is the force diagram. So if I consider Rn, so Rn is the horizontal force, you can see here. So Rn will act in rightward direction. Now you know this small angle is d theta by 2. This t we have to resolve into two component. One is horizontal component and one is vertical component. So the vertical component always acts in vertical direction and the horizontal component is always acts in the leftward direction. So the opposite side of this is nothing but the whatever the uh, force that is acting towards right side direction. So that's why the opposite side is always, if I consider a right angle triangle, the sine theta, sine d theta by 2 is equal to opposite side divided by hypotenuse. The hypotenuse will be always t, capital letter T. So if I resolve this one, so you will get the two component, horizontal and vertical. So horizontal component, how to find out, that is sine d theta by 2 is opposite side divided by hypotenuse. So hypotenuse side will be T, the opposite side is the left side force. So that can be calculated as T into sine d theta by 2. Similarly, one more horizontal force, that is here, that is at the Q. You know already Q is subjected to T plus dt or del T. So again here also you have to resolve. So there will be two component. One is downward direction, that is vertical force, and another one is again left side force, that will be the horizontal force. If I consider d theta by 2, so this will be the uh, right angle triangle such that the opposite side will be sine function. So that is nothing but left side force and the whatever the cos functions will give you the vertical force. So that's why you will get expression 1 here, that is Rn is the right side force, that is equal to, that is whatever the force at Q, that is T plus del T sine d theta by 2, because after resolving you will get sine function for left side force. Similarly at P, that is T into sine d theta by 2. So that is the first expression. For d theta is very small, therefore sine d theta by 2 you consider the d theta by 2 in equation 1. So wherever sine d theta by 2 is there, so you replace by d theta by 2. Now Rn can be written as t plus dt into d theta by 2 plus t d theta by 2, that is equal to, you just multiply here, t into d theta by 2 plus dt into d theta by 2 plus t into d theta by 2. Here this one is very small because d theta is small, even uh, d t also small, that's why you can neglect this term. So that's why after neglecting this term you will get only two component, that is t d theta by 2 plus t d theta by 2. So that's why t theta by 2 plus d theta by 2 is nothing but t into d theta. So now you consider this as expression 2. Now in the similar way, for equilibrium condition, again you have to resolve all the forces in vertical direction. So whatever the force at P and Q, you have to resolve in vertical direction. So now again we'll see, so which are the vertical forces. You can see here, so mu into Rn is nothing but F, that will act vertically in upward direction. Similarly, this one T into sine d theta by 2, because we have to resolve, so this also in upward direction. But the opposite to these two forces, one more force is there, that is t plus d theta. You have to resolve this into vertical component, so that you will get downward force as t plus dt into sine, not sine, cos d theta by 2. So that's why I have mentioned here. So this is upward force plus t plus d theta dt into cos d theta by 2. So that will be the uh, again downward force. This will be downward force. So this will be minus, because it is upward force, because I have to make expression in terms of mu into Rn. So mu into Rn and t plus cos d theta by 2, these two forces are upward force, but t plus dt into cos d theta by 2 is the downward force. So you will get expression 3. Since again angle d theta is very small, therefore wherever cos d theta by 2 is there, you consider it as 1 in equation number 3, because you can see here cos term is there, you consider this as 1. So after consideration, so mu into Rn, that is equal to t plus t minus t. So again tt will cancel, so you will get only dt. So mu Rn equal to dt. So if I write in terms of Rn equation, so Rn equal to dt divided by mu. So mu will goes to numerator here. So that's why Rn will be dt divided by mu. So that is expression number 4. Now you have to equate whatever the value of Rn from the equation 2 and 4. So you have to equate, because you can see here, so in equation number 1 and equation number 4, the LHS remain same, Rn is here, Rn also here. So that's why the RHS also same. That's why t dt is equal to del t divided by mu. So t into d theta is equal to dt divided by mu. So I will write in t terms together, that is dt divided by t is nothing but mu into d theta. So now we have to integrate, because we have to consider small portion for entire belt. You have to integrate from the limit t1 to t2, because at a and b the belt is subjected to two tension, that is t1 and t2. T1 is nothing but tight side tension, and t2 is nothing but slack side tension. And again the angle you have to integrate from 0 to theta. So 0 is the minimum angle, theta is the maximum angle. So now you have to integrate like this, dt divided by 2 limits from t to t1. Similarly mu mu is the constant, that is coefficient of friction, theta is a variable that also you have to integrate 0 to theta. So integration of 1 by t is nothing but log to the base e, that is into log to the base e t1 divided by t2. So that is equal to integration of d theta is nothing but theta. So you will get mu theta, that is log to the base e t1 divided by t2 is equal to mu theta. So if you multiply both side logarithm function, so you will get t1 divided by t2 is equal to e to the power mu theta. So that is the final expression for flat belt drive, that is the ratio of tension T1 divided by T2 is equal to e to the power mu theta. So T1 is the tight side tension in Newton, T2 is the slack side tension in Newton, mu is the coefficient of friction, theta is the angle of contact between the pulley and belt. So this angle is always you have to represent in terms of radian, then only you have to substitute here. So again, based on this expression, because this is one of the important expression in the design of belt drive, so whatever the problems you can solve with the help of this equation. So along with the length of belt, so what we discussed already. So this is the important derivation from the exam point of view. So that is ratio of belt tensions in belt drive. Now we'll see some of the advantage of V belt over flat belt drive, because the V belt is more frequently used for power transmission, so you can transmit higher power than flat belt drive, because there will be a V groove, and you know the difference already. So the cross section of the belt is trapezoidal cross section in case of V belt drive. So there will be a groove always, the whatever the belt that will sit inside the groove, so that you can transmit power effectively. Now we'll see what are the advantage of V belt. The first advantage is the V belt drives gives compactness due to small distance between the center of pulleys, because V belt usually used whenever the center distance is very less than, we can say, 8 meters, uh, so less, which is less than flat belt drive. So that's why, because if the center distance is very small, so whatever the system or whatever the application that looks very compact, so that is one of the advantage of V belt. So it will not consume more space. The second one, the drive is positive because slip between the belt and pulley groove is negligible, because in flat belt drive, so there is no proper pulley, because pulley is flat in flat belt drive, but in case of V belt drive, the pulley is having groove, so it means that we will get wedging action there. So that's why there should not be any kind of slip. So that's why we consider V belt as positive drive, so that you can maintain constant velocity ratio. Now third one, since the V belts are made endless, so there is no joint trouble, therefore drive is smooth, because these V belts are endless. So the whatever the there is no joint trouble, therefore the drive is smooth, and it provides longer life, 3 to 5 years, so which is more than flat belt drive. So it can be easily installed and removed, so in any direction you can install, because flat belt drive usually you can use it only in the horizontal direction. So but V belt you can install any direction. The operation of the belt and pulley is simple. The belts have ability to absorb the shock when the machine are started. So because of belt act as a flexible element, so it can absorb some of the shocks. The high velocity ratio is obtained because it is a positive drive, so compared to flat belt drive, so high velocity ratio you can achieve. Now coming to the disadvantage part, the V belt cannot be used with the large center distance, because we already discussed this can be used only when the center distance is very small. You cannot use it for when the distance is too long, and V belts are not so durable as compared to flat belt drive. The construction of pulleys for V belt is more complicated than pulleys of flat belt drive, because we have to make a groove here, because in case of flat belt drive the pulley is flat, but here it is we have to make groove, so that's why it will take more time, as well as construction of that it leads to again more cost is needed in order to manufacture of such pulleys. Since the V belts are subjected to certain amount of creep, therefore these are not suitable for constant speed application. Even though subjected to certain amount of creep, we already discussed what do you mean by creep. So for over a long period of time, so the belt will fail. So that's why it cannot be used for constant speed applications. The fifth one, the belt life is greatly influenced with the temperature changes, improper belt tension, mismatching of belt length. So this is very important. It is always influenced by many factors such as temperature change and improper belt tensions, and whatever the mismatching of the belt length. Sixth one, the centrifugal tension prevents the use of belt at speed below 5 meters per second and above 50 meter per second. So this is also one of the disadvantage. Now coming to one more type of belt drive, so that is timing belt drive. So this is one more different types of drive. So this is nothing but we called it as a positive drive that operates on toothed pulley, because pulley is here, it's like having teeth, so that belt also needs teeth, so that's why it is called one of the positive drive, because we need to study one more type of power drive, that is gear drive. So gear is always having teeth. Similar to that one, we have one type of belt drive. So you know, the gear drive is always used for to transmit the power for a shorter distance when the center distance is very small, but the belt drive is always used when the power to be transmitted for a longer distance. The main thing is there will be a always slip in the belt. In order to avoid that one, so we have to go for one more type belt, that is called timing belt. In timing belt, so there will be a teeth, so it is having toothed pulley as well as toothed belt, so that will mate each other, and there will be a rolling action, so that you can transmit the power effectively. A toothed belt is made up of rubberized fabric, so it is a material, so reinforced with the steel wires. So inside there will be a steel wires. It is reinforced with steel. Outside there will be a rubber. The steel wire is located at the pitch line, and the pitch length is same as regardless of the thickness of the belt. The toothed belts do not have any joints. This type of belt doesn't have any joints. Toothed pulley looks like gear. You can see here. You can see here, this is the timing belt. So this is nothing but pulley. So pulley is having teeth. It's like gear only. and this is belt. So belt having the interior tooth profile, so that will mate each other. So in order we can transmit the power effectively from one shaft to another shaft. So that is the uh, timing belt drive. Now coming to the advantage of timing belt. So so whatever the transmitting motion, so that you can transmit effectively from one place to another place. So you can compare with the gauge, because whatever the velocity ratio, so that will be very high if you use this type of belt drive, and so that will be uh, more advantage as compared with the flat belt drive. The second one, high torque carrying capacity. The torque carrying capacity of this type of belt drive is very high. So you can achieve here power transmission at constant speed. So that is one of the uh, most important characteristics of this type of belt, and virtually there is no creep at all, and lubrication is not required, because there will be a rolling action. So lubrication is not required, because it is belt is always subjected to friction, then only you can transmit power. But in case of gear drive, the lubrication is needed. Sixth one, low noise and vibration. So vibration and noise will be very less in this type of belt drive. Now coming to the disadvantage, it is costly, the manufacturing of belt, because you have to make a tooth profile over the belt as well as for pulley. So that's why the maintenance cost, whatever the cost related to this, will be very high. Second one, power transfer to less distance. As compared with the, you cannot transmit power for a lesser distance, because all the uh, belt drives are used for transmit power for a longer distance, but gear can be used for a shorter distance. So sophisticated design of the belt and pulley, the complex design, because it is having teeth over pulley as well as for belt. That's why design is somewhat complex. So this is your almost end of theory portion, that is related to the belt drives. Next we are going to solve some of the important problems, because here you have a lot of problems with respect to belt drives, as well as in the next topic also you have problems. In next class we'll discuss about different types of problems. Thank you.